Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler. I'm the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique, where you find the great teas, the teaware and the accessories that you need, that you enjoy if you want to make good tea. So today we are in our class about Lu Yu's charging. This class is based on this book in French, Le Classique du Thé from Lu Yu, at the edition Les Belles Lettres. So the publisher is Les Belles Lettres, a nice edition. It's even in French and in Chinese, so I can compare both. And what I did is I made my own translation based on this text. So what you are going to hear, this text, is found nowhere else. It's simply mine. So let's drink some. So today, if you did not listen, 1 month ago I made a first introduction about Lu Yu, who is this author who wrote this book during the Tang Dynasty around the year 760. So if you want more detail, go to this class. I think it will be interesting and give you a lot of background about this book. And today we are starting with, of course, the beginning, the origins of tea. So even Lu Yu uses a very logical way of starting his book. He starts about the origins of tea. So what I will do, I will read. This chapter is subdivided in 6 parts. So I will read one part and then I will give you my comment about this part, what it means, what we can learn from it. So, the origins of tea. The tea plant is a magnificent tree from southern China. It can reach heights of 1, 2, or even dozens of feet. In the Ba Mountains and on the steep slopes of the Xia, some are so large that it takes 2 people to embrace the trunk, and it is necessary to limb it for the harvest. The tree looks like a gualu, the leaves like a Cape jasmine, the flowers like a white rose, the fruit like a fen palm, the stalk like a clove, and the roots like a walnut. The gualu tree grows in Guangzhou. It resembles the tea plant. It is very bitter and astringent. The fen palm belongs to the fountain palm family, whose fruit resembles that of the tea plant. The roots of the tea and walnut trees produce secondary roots that can pierce the debris, tile debris, and whose shoots grow upward. Okay, here ends the beginning of the book, and it talks where this tea plant is from, southern China. Here actually Lu is quite right. There was some back and forth, some arguments between India and China about where tea was originally found, and nowadays the science is settled, as we say. It is in southern China, actually more in Yunnan, which in the Tang Dynasty was not part of China. But so Lu is, according to what he could know, he's actually quite right that tea originated in that part, maybe even a bit farther than what he thought, actually in Yunnan, which was not yet a province in China. Then what does he do? He's describing, because in books you could not print pictures yet. So instead of painting a picture, he tries to paint a picture of what the tea tree looks like, so that people can understand what he's talking about. So the first thing is try to depicting tea and comparing it with different other trees that are more known to the Chinese of his time. And according to the author, the Gualu actually is a Camellia sinensis variety Macrophylla. So actually it is also part of the larger Camellia sinensis tea family. And these very large trees that he's describing, that sometimes for harvest need to be cut. This actually reminds us of Gushupur, these very old and tall tea trees in Yunnan. Actually, still until today, they can be so tall that in order to harvest them, they are cut, so limed, as he says. So he's actually quite right that this kind of large, tall trees actually are also part of the tea tree family. And yeah, so he really follows a very scientific way of trying to define what is tea and its tree, by really depicting it as clearly as he can. He continues now in part 2. The cha character for tea is written with either the herb or the wood key, or with both elements combined. The character cha, tea, can be written with the key of plants. This spelling comes from the meaning of characters of the Kaiyuan era. It can also be written with the wood key, giving the character tu. This spelling comes from the Materia Medica. Finally, it can be written with the two elements combined, giving also the word cha. This spelling comes from the Elegant Discourse, which is even older, dates back to 500 before our time. Now, so here I will show you what he means by the character cha. This is after defining what tea is in reality, he tries to now define the proper character. So he explains that that there are different variations in writing this character. So this is the one that we know now. He talks also, and this is the what he talks about, the key that is herb is this, and the key that is tree would be this one. So this is the one that is supposed to be called tu, according to this book. Actually, at that time, there is this other character also that is not mentioned in this book, but that was also very much used, which you can see is very similar to the word cha. Just there are two differences. First, you can see one of the differences is this horizontal line up there, and also here the line goes down completely. Here it goes down and up, slightly up again. So this is 2 also, and 2 is very close in to another word in Chinese, which is du, which means poison. So there was with this character tu some a bit closeness with poison, because tea could be very bitter, and was it good, was it bad? This was not so clear. But now what Louis is trying to do is trying to explain what is the proper character for cha, and he's trying to really set it into, grave it into stone. Okay, from now on we use this one. It will be more clear with the next part, part number 3. There are 5 different words for tea. Cha, the one we just saw. Jia, Shi, Ming, and Chuan. The Duke of Zhou said, Jia designates a bitter tea. According to Yang Zhiji, people in southwestern Shu, means Sichuan, refer to tea as Shi. Guopu of Hongnong considers that an early harvested tea is called Cha, a late harvested tea Ming, and for some Chuan. So I don't want to. I did not show you the other words, Jia, Shi, Ming, and Chuan. Ming actually some can still be used. It can for instance in the expression to taste tea, we will instead of say in Chinese, people will say pin min instead of pin cha. Now, what Lu is doing here, he's following a concept from Confucius called Zhengming, the rectification of words. So his process is to really, after describing what is the reality of tea, trying to find what is the correct character to talk about tea. And we can see that the character that he prefers, Cha, has the two keys of herb and of tree, and that there is a person. This character actually is like a person. So if we wanted to do a little bit of deep analysis or superficial analysis, if you want, of this character, it would be like something that is between an herb and a tree, and it's in the center is man. So because it's a bush, it's not really an herb, it's not really a tree. Most trees, tea trees are bushes. So that would be another way to explain. And we can see that he does not want to use the other characters because according to Duke of Zhou, Jia designates a bitter tea. So he does not want to use Jia to designate tea. So in the rest of the book, he will only use Cha, this character. He does not want to use the other words that have been used before for tea, for the reason that they were designated either as bitter or also because the other words can be the other one is Shi. This is what people say in the southwestern Shu, so it's more a dialect. It's only in one part of China that they use the word Shi, so he also does not want to use a word that is more a dialect, that is not recognized everywhere in China, to become the gold standard for the word that would describe tea. And then for the other two, Ming and Chuan, he says that they are considered as late harvested tea. So again, here the reasoning for dismissing Ming and Chuan is that these teas are of inferior quality, since the earlier you pick green tea, the better it is. And in Tang Dynasty, as we saw last time, the only tea that were made were green tea in terms of process. So what he really is trying to accomplish by saying you have to use from now on Cha as a character for tea and not all the other characters, he does not want to use one that is a dialect. He does not want to use one that refers to something that is bitter. Tea should be sweet. And he does not want to refer to characters that designate late harvested leaves. He wants really the finest, the first harvested leaves. This is what he tries to define. So, because in the rectification of names, it's not just about defining what something is. Then the step 2 is to use the correct word to designate it, but it also has an action within, and there is a purpose in using the correct word. Here his purpose is very clear. He wants to use a character that emphasizes a tea that is both not bitter and that is of high quality because picked early. Okay, I hope I was not too long, but this is really an important point that can be missed otherwise. Let's continue with part number 4. The best soils for growing tea plants are those with friable stones. Next come the silty gravelly soils. Yellow soils come last. As a general rule, if tea does not bear fruit where it has been planted, it will rarely prosper once transplanted. It is grown using the same techniques as for squash. Harvesting takes 3 years. Wild plants are of better quality than cultivated ones. Among those from sunny cliffs and shady forests, the finest are purple teas, followed by green teas. First shoots are more appreciated than buds, and curled leaves are preferable to unfurled ones. There's no point wasting time picking teas from the northern slopes of mountains and valleys, as they have an astringent, coagulating nature that causes abdominal concretions. Okay, so lots of material in this part. After doing good work of defining the tea, the plant, like from a botanist perspective, and doing a lexicology, to be precise, to use the right word, he starts doing geology on what kind of soil is tea best planted. And he tells us first is friable stones, which means it's on very when it's friable, it becomes like sand. So this is a soil where the water drainage is very quick, where the roots don't steep in water for a long time after rain. And we know indeed that this is really the kind of soil that we find for Ui teas, for instance. They are even called rock teas. Now, even for this oolong, this oolong comes from Alishan in the Shuzhou village, and this Shuzhou village means actually rock mountain, rock table, Shuzhou, and the soil is very rocky, and it leaves this kind of dryness and longer aftertaste and minerality in the taste. So this is for Luyu the best type of soil, and indeed the oolongs from Shuzhou are very highly regarded, and those from Fujian, Ui Mountains, probably even more. Those that are the least regarded are the yellow soils. These keep the water from going away, and they are so rich, and they are very rich. Actually, tea is simply a leaf. It does not need to have so much nutrients. It prefers to grow on more scarce, not so rich soil, and that's why, indeed, Luyu is right. This is the type of he classified rightly what are the best types of soil. So he's not just a good botanist, lexicologist, but also a geologist. What comes next? He knows about agriculture because he knows it will take 3 years until you can harvest the teas. which is really a long time for farmers. Usually you are able to harvest whatever you planted in terms of vegetables in the same season, at the end of the season. Here for tea it takes 3 years, so it's really a great investment. This explains also why tea was so expensive in those times, and was a luxury for a long time. Of course, after these 3 years, then you are able to pick it once or twice a year. But still, in the beginning, it's a great sacrifice to wait for 3 years until you are able to harvest the tea. This reminds me of the Sancha Bilochun. The Chin Yu Baozhong, actually, from Sanxia. Last year we had the first harvest. This year we have the second harvest, and indeed it took over 2 years for this tea to be available. It's a bit faster nowadays because farmers are able to buy the small trees. They don't start from the seeds. Usually they start with some stems, and therefore they are able to shorten a little bit the time it takes until the first harvest. And the first harvest adds a little bit more taste because it is more concentrated in terms of and the tree is more full of vigor. Okay, he did not say this, but this is my addition. Wild plants are also better, according to Lu Yu, and we see this very obviously in the case of the only tea that is nowadays wild almost. There is also it's pu'er, Gushu pu'er. The prices are much higher and the quality is also much finer, much more powerful than tidy, so plantation pu'er. So he's in this respect. This is still very true that teas that are grown by themselves are of better quality than those that are planted and cared by humans. Then he mentions also that sunny cliffs and shady forests, here the finest are purple teas followed by green teas. And this color purple, actually, if you pay attention in the early spring, the color of the buds changes. When they are very young, in the very first days of spring, the first color actually is purple, and only after a few days, more maturity, the leaves turn green. So here again, he's very astute in observing this fact that the tea leaves are at their finest, at their youngest stage, when they are purple and later become green. The first shoots are more appreciated than the buds, so the younger, the smaller, the better, and the curled leaves are also preferable to the unfurled, because when they are curled, this is also the stage before being open. When they are open, that also means the leaves are more mature than when they are curled. So all the color, the shape, and the fact that and the size, all this points in the same direction. Quality. Pick it young, and this is indeed for green tea the most preferable point for picking tea. This is not the case for oolong anymore, or for pu'er, or for red teas, but for green tea this is really the case. And in the Tang Dynasty they were only processing all their teas into green teas, which we will see a little bit more in detail in some later chapters. But so in the because he's talking about green tea process, it really makes sense everything what he said, and these are very astute observations. And he mentions even that it's no point wasting time picking teas in places that have little sunshine or that are in the valleys, meaning that again an emphasis on quality. Only the best places for tea are those that make good tea, and therefore if you plant tea trees in a place that is not very suitable, actually it's better to do something else. Don't even bother harvesting these leaves. They are not going to give you much pleasure. Actually, on the contrary, they will feel astringent and they will cause some abdominal concretions, so you will feel belly ache. So again, really, he's focused on the quality. Part number 5. Tea is a beverage with a very refreshing flavor, perfectly suited to people of refined conduct and sober character. If you're hot and thirsty, if you're oppressed, if you suffer from chest pains, dry eyes, aching limbs, or joint discomfort, you can enjoy 4 or 5 sips of tea that will be as sweet as cream of milk or ambrosia. But drinking tea picked at a wrong time, made without care, or mixed with bad herbs can lead to illness. Here, this almost sounds like medicine recipe. We're reading instructions when we go to the pharmacist and we bring back some medicine. It's for what symptoms is tea the most suited. So, of course, at that time there were no pharmacists yet. Chinese medicine already existed, but of course it was not as advanced as today's modern medicine. So tea was used by many as a way of alleviating some pains, and it probably did have some comforting effects on many people, especially if the symptoms were not so strong. So here, aching limbs or joint discomfort, these are not life-threatening diseases. Or dry eyes. He's really trying to ease some discomfort, but not trying to cure very grave illnesses. But still, there is something interesting. He does not say that all teas are good and that definitely you should drink as much tea as you want. He also mentions that if the tea is picked at the wrong time, so if it's of low quality, made without care, again, low quality, or mixed with bad herbs, it can lead to illness. So it can be actually bad for you if you drink bad tea. So he really does think that there are good teas and bad teas, and that all teas are not created equal. And the other interesting reference is mixed with bad herbs, because until the Tang Dynasty, until Louis' time, tea was not drunk alone. It was mixed with other herbs or spices, and it's only Louis who really defined, here we are still in this definition process of what is tea, and the only spice or herb, no, not herb, the only spice that he would add to tea is a pinch of salt. Now we will see this detail later on, but this mention that tea can be mixed with bad herbs or with herbs simply refers to the fact that we are at a crossroad. Before Tang Dynasty, tea was indeed prepared with other ingredients together and water, and starting with Tang, starting with Lu Yu, tea now is drunk on its own with only a pinch of salt. This is the only thing that they were still adding to add to the flavor of tea. We come to the end, part 6. Like ginseng, tea can have harmful effects. The best ginseng grows in Shandong, that of lesser quality in the kingdoms of Pekshe and Silla, and that of very poor quality in the kingdom of Koguryu. That which grows in Zezou, Izou, Youzhou, and Tanzhou is of no medicinal efficacy, let alone in other regions. If we were to take adenophore instead of ginseng, none of the 6 types of disease would be cured. When we know the harmful effects of bad ginseng, we can imagine those of bad tea. So, yeah, let me drink some more Alishan. So here again, an emphasis on the importance of quality. He uses ginseng, which is probably better known to his Chinese readers from that time, to explain what could be the positive effects of tea, and also to explain that, like with ginseng, there are all kinds of different quality levels for tea. Some are very good, some are mediocre, some are simply good, some are mediocre, and some actually are not just bad, but even harmful. So he really wants to inform his public that quality really matters, and that they should be after only the best quality of tea, just like when they are enjoying, or when they are making ginseng, they should go for the best and not go for the lower quality, because it's not just bad, but it's actually harmful, according to Lu Yu. What can we say? So for him, it's better to drink water than not to drink bad tea. This is also the choice that we have when we are faced with a cup. Ultimately, it's always our decision: are we drinking it, yes or no? And that's also why I'm so passionate about the tea, trying to find always the best possible quality at the right price. So thank you, Lu Yu, for really making this point very central to your book. The quality of tea is something that matters. We have not just defined the origins of tea in terms of geography, but we have also defined it in terms of the character, lexicography. We have described it in detail. We have geology, even when to and agriculture, when to harvest, and we had even some advice in terms of medical advice, I think, and all in one page, in one chapter. So I hope that you enjoyed this lesson with me about Lu Yu. I will do the next chapter in another month. Next week we are going to taste some oolong from my selection. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you have questions, please let me know, and I will try to answer them the best I can. And visit my tea shop, tea-masters.com, to support me in my endeavor to bring these classes to you for free, to the whole world. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you next week. Bye bye.